Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Tatiana Anissa. If you're new here, welcome to the video. Today's video is a video that has been requested quite a bit on my channel. I just never got around to doing it. I am going to be sharing with you guys my entire Colourpop collection. I'm pretty sure you guys know by now Colourpop is my favorite brand in the entire world, and I have over 30 palettes from Colourpop and my collection is still growing. Quick disclaimer, this is not me bragging about anything in any way. I just want to share with you guys all the palettes that I love, the ones that I'm like, I could have skipped this one, but you know, it's Colourpop, so why not? I'm just gonna share my collection with you guys. So I want to go ahead and show you guys how I store them first. I'm gonna include a little clip on how I store my Colourpop palettes. So I wanted to show you guys where I keep all of my Colourpop palettes. All of my palettes are in this little organizer type thingy, but this drawer specifically is dedicated to all of my Colourpop palettes. Alright, so now that you guys have seen how I store my Colourpop palettes, let's get into the collection video. Before I get started, don't forget to hit that subscribe button down below and the notification bell so you can be notified every time I post a new video. Also, I want to say thank you guys for 300 subscribers. That is crazy to me, but we are continuing to grow. It really means the world to me, so thank you guys so much. So I'm gonna start with all of my 9-pan palettes because I feel like that I have the most of these. And by the way, Colourpop really does take up majority of my eyeshadow palette collection. Let's just be real here. So the first palette is the Ola Ola Palette. This one is an all pink monochromatic palette and I really love this palette so much. I don't pull it out as much as I want to or I should. This is just so gorgeous. There's a lot of variety in this palette. You definitely could get a lot of looks out of it. I think this is one of their best monochromatic palettes that they've come out with so far, just because of all the variety you get in this palette. So the next one is the Orange You Glad palette. You guys, the packaging on this one is so cute. I personally am not a very orange person, so I don't pull from this one that much, as you guys can kind of see, but I will say this palette does come in handy when I need an orange to go with a sunset kind of look, or want to do an orange, which is kind of rare, but I'm the kind of person that likes to match my outfits with my eyeshadow. So then we have the Main Squeeze palette, and I will say I wasn't really drawn to this palette when it first came out, but the more that I looked at it, the more I was like, well, I don't really have reds, so this could really benefit me in a lot of ways, and I have gotten more use out of this palette than the Orange You Glad palette, but this one isn't really my favorite. A lot of different varieties, so if you don't have a red palette, definitely check this one out if you feel like you need some kind of red shadows in your collection. The next one is the Aha Honey palette. This one is really cute. I have created some really beautiful looks with this palette. This one is a really good companion palette to the other 9-pan palettes that I have. Alright, the next one is Just My Luck. You guys, I be digging this one. This one really nice. Like, it really be hitting sometimes. I get some really pretty green looks out of this palette, and this is one of my favorite palettes that I do have in my Colourpop collection, just because it's so different. I get a different look every time I use this palette. It's just something about these greens where I'm just like, yeah, I really dig this one. Next is the Blue Moon palette. This one is my absolute favorite 9-pan palette from Colourpop. You guys, I don't know what Colourpop was thinking. I feel like this was one of their first monochromatic palettes, but this one is gorgeous. I love this palette so much. All the looks that I get from this palette are beautiful. I get lots of compliments on this palette where people want to know what palette I'm wearing. I also feel like if you have been wanting Jeffree Star's Blue Blood palette, this is the perfect dupe for that palette. Okay, so I just looked in this mirror and I just swatched something earlier and I didn't get it off my hands, and it's on my forehead. Alright, so yeah, the Blue Moon one is really gorgeous and I love it and highly recommend it if you're going to get any 9-pan palette from Colourpop. Get the Blue Moon, check it out, you'll love it. Seriously. The next one is the Mar palette, and this one is my least favorite palette from Colourpop. I don't use this one as much, which I really should. I mean, it's just browns and blues, but for some reason I'm just not drawn to this one like I'm drawn to the other ones. And this was my first Colourpop 9-pan palette. I got it at Ulta on sale. I'm not really a neutral person. Like, I'll wear a neutral look every now and then, but I prefer color. But I mean, yeah, this one just really isn't my favorite. Next is the It's My Pleasure palette, you guys. I love this palette so much. It is so beautiful. I love purples. Purples are my favorite. I wish I could say I created this look with this palette, but I didn't. There's another palette that I use that I created this look. We're gonna get to it next. But this one is a really pretty palette. A lot of people love this one. This is a lot of people's favorite 9-pan palette from Colourpop, which I don't blame them. It is really gorgeous. I highly recommend this one. This one, Mr. Sandman, is beautiful. Beautiful. It's like a duochrome. We love our duochromes. We love them. The next palette is the newest one last week. Yeah, I got this one last week. I had been eyeing this palette so much, and I've been seeing Colourpop posts about this palette so much. I don't know what was wrong with me. Why didn't I get this when it first came out? But I just didn't. I don't know. But that's the Lilac You a Lot palette, and yes, I'm using this palette on my eyes today in conjunction with another palette that I'm going to get to. But you guys, a lot of people say, correct me if I'm wrong, this is Ariana Grande in a palette. I really believe that. I don't know why I didn't pick this up. It's purple, and I love purple, and the look that I use, like the colors that I use out of this palette to create this look are stunning. Like, really stunning. I'm very impressed with this palette, and I'm excited to use this one with the It's My Pleasure palette because I feel like they're going to be great compliments to each other. This one used to be called Smoke Show, but then something happened and then they got rid of it on their website, and then I thought, oh my god, I missed out. And that's where I get the whole thing, like, you never know if they're gonna bring back a palette, so if you really want it when it launches, kind of get it, because you never know if it's limited edition or what's gonna happen. So they brought it back. They had a whole new makeover. The name changed, the shades were the same, but you guys, very unique. I have literally nothing like this palette in my collection, and I do feel like if you have been eyeing Jeffree Star's Cremated palette, this is the perfect dupe for that. You literally need this one. It's only $12 as opposed to $58, so yeah. I'm gonna get a lot of use out of this palette around Halloween, October time. I really forgot that I had this palette, but you guys, it really comes in handy if you feel like you're not going to use this palette because it's so out there, dramatic, crazy. I think there will be a time when you're like, dang, I forgot about you, and you came in handy. I really feel that way with a lot of these 9-pan palettes because they just are come in handy type palettes. Or an out palette. This is the new one Colourpop just released in their tie-dye collection. My ring light doesn't like pastel colors, so this is what it looks like. I have a review on all 3 of the tie-dye palettes on my channel, so definitely go and check that out. But this one is really pretty. I haven't gotten much use out of it since my review. I am going to pull them back out pretty soon. I like to rotate through my palettes because I have so many. So every week I change out. I do 10 palettes in one of the bins, and I just pick from those. Tie-dye collection is going to be in this week's bin. So yeah, we have this one, which is really pretty. We have In a Trance. This one's the purple one. This one's my favorite one. I don't know if you guys can see. There we go. This one's my favorite of the pastels. Then we have the Miss Bliss palette, which is very peachy. These are not really colors that I pull from, but I think these shades all over the lid are really gorgeous. Now we're moving into the 9-pan palettes that are the cardboard packaging, which I honestly feel like Colourpop should really move into strictly just the cardboard packaging, because something about the plastic packaging I just don't like. I don't like plastic packaging on any palette. But this is the Lovebird palette. This one was an Ulta exclusive. At the time, I really loved this one and I really wanted it, but now I don't even touch it. I don't know why. Maybe it's because like there really is just 3 pressed glitters in here, and then there's not that many shades, but there are a lot of different textures. It's just I don't really pull from this one. Next 2 palettes are the Frozen 2 palettes. I really love these palettes. in all honesty, I feel like these palettes are strictly seasonal, if that makes sense. Like, they're really seasonal. I know that seems kind of like duh, but like seriously, the way that they made these two palettes are, I don't feel like I can really use them in the summertime for some reason. I don't know, maybe it's the packaging that makes me feel that way, but I don't know. So I do know that I'm going to get a lot of use out of this come winter, and this one come fall, because this is a pretty fall palette, and this one is such a great winter palette. We have the Making Mauves palette. You guys, this one's really pretty. This one is really cool tone. That's not really my thing, but I really did want to get this palette because, like I said, I collect Colourpop palettes, and I knew I was going to use it. But it's just, I don't feel like I can get as many looks with this because there is only one really deep shade, so I feel like I have to dig into another palette to use this. Next we have the Nude Mood palette, and this one is definitely one of my favorites. I love this one. This one is like the perfect nude palette. Because I have this one, I do want to go and get the Going Coconuts palette because I feel like those two would be really good together. My favorite shade in this palette is Put On Airs, and it's like this bronze gold shade, but it's so reflective on the lid. It's crazy. Next we have the Blush Crush palette, and this is a palette that I didn't think that I would actually really like. This is a really subtle palette, and I pull from this palette when I don't feel like doing anything crazy, or I really just want a easy makeup day. So this one is really good, and a lot of people say it's really good for bridal makeup. It's very neutral, and I think that people could get a lot of subtle looks out of this. My last two 9pan palettes that I have are the She Got Solstice and the All Things Equinox palette. These two are Ulta exclusives, and I love the theme of these. I'm obsessed with the moon, with space. I'm just obsessed with anything that's like out of the earth. So I haven't used the All Things Equinox palette yet, so I'm definitely going to go and put this in my bin because it's really pretty purpley and like earthy tones, so I think I would really love this palette. So this is going in my bin. This is the She's Got Solstice palette. I wore this and I loved it. This shade right here, I think this is their new kind of formula that they're leaning towards when it comes to like really foiled shades, and I love it. So Colourpop, if you see this, or anyone from Colourpop, if you see this, please include more of those type of shades in your palettes because I love them, especially on the lid, guys. Like, insane. Beautiful and so reflective. So next we're going to go ahead and move into all of my 12pan palettes. I do have a ranking of the 12pan palettes on my channel, so definitely go and check that out. But the first one and the newest one that I haven't used yet, but it's going in my bin, is the X's and O's palette. Ulta had this one on sale for $12, and I had to pick it up. It is very fall. So like I've been saying, a lot of palettes I do feel like are seasonal. I only use them in those seasons. So I felt like this would be a really good fall palette. The next one is a palette that's discontinued, and it only was stocked once, and that was for the release, and then it never came back, which is why I say if a palette comes out and you really want it, get it. Don't wait for the next restock because you never know if it's going to be restocked. That is the Ola Ola Palette. This is the Becky G x Colourpop collaboration. I love this palette so much. This was Colourpop's first and only all matte palette, and first of all, the packaging, this graffiti, guys, this graffiti is stunning. This is one of my favorite packagings that Colourpop has ever done, and it's just all matte, and I love it. I've used this one a lot. I was not expecting to love this one as much as I do. Next we have the Dream Street palette. This one is Kathleen Light's collaboration. I just got this recently. I think I just got this in February because it was being discontinued and it was on sale for $10. It's a really stunning palette. I see why a lot of people really like this one, but it's really stunning. All that palette. I also love this packaging that Colourpop did. This was from their Valentine's Day collection in February, and it's a really pretty date night palette. It's so stunning. This packaging gets me every time. I know it's kind of like muted, but it's really pretty. And this palette also has that really intense foiled shade that I was telling you guys about. The Sweet Talk palette. This is definitely not one of my favorites from Colourpop. I just get bored with this palette sometimes, But it is really great for the spring, and I did get quite a bit of use out of this when I brought this to California. You Are a Cutie palette. This one was an Ulta exclusive. I only got this one because it was on sale for $8 at Ulta in California, and it's really pretty. The looks that I get out of this are really great. There's a lot of light shades in here. I just don't really reach for those as much, but the shimmers are really stunning. The Sailor Moon palette, and this one was really hyped up. I think it is a really pretty pastel palette. It's really unique to my collection. And yeah, I did get this right when it launched because I'm a sucker for packaging. I really am a sucker for packaging. If the packaging is really cute, it makes me love the shades in the inside for some reason. But this isn't a palette that I pull from all the time, but when I feel like I want to go pastel, this is the first one that I think of. Next, we have my absolute favorite 12-pan palette from Colourpop. This is the California Love palette. It's just stunning. This is the best neutral palette I've seen in a really long time. And if you could get your hands on this palette, I highly recommend it. It's not one of those boring neutral palettes. I have some boring neutral palettes, but these are like warm, gorgeous, summery, bronzy, like really beautiful neutrals. I'm not a neutral person. I don't really gravitate to neutrals, but this palette is really well loved and used. My last Colourpop 12-pan palette is the Zodiac from Kathleen Lights. The packaging, stunning. Colourpop really did that with this packaging. But the inside, not so cohesive. I don't really use this one as much. That's all I gotta say about this one. Now we're moving on to the 15-pan palette. I think these are 15 pans. I don't feel like counting. Yeah, it's 15. So the first one we have is the Mulan palette, and this one is also a neutral palette, but I really love it. It's stunning. The shades and the formula is top notch. Colourpop really killed it with this palette. The packaging is really stunning. Really stunning. I also have a review on this palette and some other things in the collection, so definitely go and check that out. Shades in here. Those shades are gorgeous. This is currently out of stock on their website, but when it goes back in stock, I highly recommend this palette if you can get your hands on it. I love when Colourpop does collaborations with Disney because they're so nostalgic, yes, but they just really kill it. Like, they really go above and beyond when it comes to Disney. Speaking of Disney, I just got this one. This one is the Villains one. I had been eyeing this for a long time, and my crazy self waited so long to get it. I ordered it. Colourpop accidentally sent me the wrong package. It was meant for someone else, and I didn't get it, and I had to wait longer for it, but I got it. Finally got my hands on it. I was afraid that this was going to get discontinued, so I really wanted to grab it. I love this, guys. Look at this packaging. It has all of the villains on the palette. Look at this. This is just stunning. When I tell you Colourpop kills it with their Disney collections, they really go above and beyond. They really do. And the shades in the inside, of course, I feel like this is definitely representative of the Disney villains. I am wearing the shade Pain and Panic on my eye, as well as this one right here. The camera decided to cut off on me. It's telling me that this video is too long, which I really do agree. But yeah, I was telling you guys about the Disney Villains palette. I am really happy that I picked this one up because it is definitely going to be one of my favorites to pull from, especially from palettes that are technically all matte. And this one is a majority shimmer palette, so I could definitely use this one as a companion palette. Yes, companion palette for the other palettes. Next is the Disney Designer Collection palette. This is the Midnight Masquerade palette. Again, the packaging really got me, but I did get a lot of uses out of this palette. Don't get me wrong, but now that my collection has grown, I don't use this one as much. Green shades on this side, I love them. This one is my absolute favorite green. That one is Frog and Wife. Really pretty. Like, look at that green. This is a 16-pan palette, and this is my only 16-pan palette from Colourpop. That is the Truly Madly Deeply palette. Now, with this palette, I really wanted it. I saw it at Ulta, and I just immediately had to have it. But then when I got it, I didn't realize how unusable this palette would be for me. There's only one deep shade in this palette, and it's this one right here, and it's a satin shade. The packaging is really pretty, but look at how light this palette is. Now we're down to the last 3 palettes, 30 pan palettes. All of the 30 pan palettes I love, and I do hope that Colourpop comes out with more 30 pan palettes. Let's get into the last 3. So we have the It's All Good palette, and this one is the perfect palette for summer. This one came out at the end of 2019, and it's really stunning. It's so summery. This is the palette that I felt like was a dupe, kind of the Jaclyn Hill Volume 2 palette. I felt like since I had this one, I didn't need that one. I don't know what kind of like packaging this is, but it is kind of like matte, and it gets dirty so fast. All 3 of them have this type of packaging feel, and they get so dirty. I don't know if you guys can see how dirty this palette is. The So Jaded palette, and this is one of my favorite palettes. If I had to choose my favorite one out of the 3 30 pan palettes, it would be So Jaded. This was my first 30 pan palette. Really stunning. If you love jewel tones and color and just a nice pretty fall palette, I highly recommend this one. This is Kathleen Lights' best collab with Colourpop, so I can't wait to see what she comes out with, because I don't know how she's gonna top this one. I really don't. Lastly, I have the Bare Necessities palette. This one is for my neutral lovers. If you love neutrals and that's all you like, definitely pick this one up. All the looks that I get with this palette are beautiful. The favorite shade in this palette is Silk Teddy. It's so reflective and beautiful. Wow, okay, so that is my entire Colourpop collection. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you want to see other collections, definitely let me know in the comments. I do plan on doing a collection video of my Juvia's Place palettes. I think I'm going to rank those because, let's face it, Juvia's Place palettes are a bomb, but like, I know that's going to be a hard ranking. And I also want to do a BH Cosmetics collection video because I have a lot of those palettes. But I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.